right now. Okay, Elvis, thank you
The
so much.
We'll have that conversation tonight with you.
That's how you do your own voting?
You see?
That's how you do your own voting? You unable to go find money, how the network to operate, and when it comes there, okay, it's on here. Okay, Elvis, thank you so much. It's on. I don't want to be distracted by the labor here because he and Jared back on for some reason. Yeah, that's what I do. Mr. Goya, I know the game he playing. He doing everything he to be friendly with CC here on the network, and it will not hold. So we read that. So if you think that way, you're gonna reputation you're gonna bring back here for you and CC to be together here. That's not gonna work. Mr. Goya, good to have you. Yeah. This guy is you're gonna get to your talking point now, but my understanding now they are part of the panelists for the night lamp, something with UG Fagon, Fatiga, one of the renegades, leftover.
Objection. I don't think so.
This will not objection. No, please.
No, I just don't want Sese to be part of the discussion on that.
Sese, baby.
I'm objecting.
Why?
Why you want to?
This is not LPR. That's not LPR business.
Yeah, but the implication will be felt by all of us, so we got to talk.
You feel the implication when it comes to your doorstep, then you can ask questions.
Okay, Papi, please don't disrupt our program. Sister, welcome to the show. Let's Sister bring his own talking point. Today is all things considered. Sister,
thank you.
Yeah, but you know how come step that thing. You know, back in the day when you go and play football and you're doing jibamu, back in the day, you're collecting players from around. You collect the best player from the community. They took you from here, go and serve, go do what you do best. Having said that, I think Mr. To alluded to my article, and for those of you that haven't read it, I put it out there. It's a series. It's the first in a series of article I hope to have out there and to have discussion on. Is how to rethink WIAC, how to even rethink graduation requirement in Liberia. In the United States right now, you can't name me one single standardized test that students take as a graduation requirement anymore. Even these tests that you take in the States, they're there to stress test the system, right? Not as a graduation requirement. So what I ask for, what I'm advocating is that we start testing in 9th grade. So you test in 9th grade, you test in 11th grade, you test in 9th grade, 10th grade, and 11th grade. By 11th grade, you should be done with all of the WIAC testing. We still with WIAC. Okay, so you test different subjects at different times. Now, what that does is the 12th grade year, if you have failed any of those subjects out of 9, 10, or 11, 12th grade year is for remediation. You're still in school, you're still learning, and you can still test. The reason I'm advocating this is because when you look at the failure rate of people who retake the test, right now as it is, you're out of high school, you sit for a while, nobody helping you, nobody tutoring you, unless you find your own money, and then you go back to take a test. Even if you were the valedictorian in your school and you fail WIAC, you stay in graduate. So I haven't understood the logic of that. But then you have to wait so many months on your own before you go back to retake the test, which is not right. That's why we have a lot of people still fail when they resit. Versus they stay in the school, they're still 12th graders, and they can have access to being remediated, and they can take the test before they graduate or they are done with 12th grade. Now, for those people who meet all of those requirements by 11th grade, what that allows for them to do now is the 12th grade year. You can use that for internships. Remember when I was much younger, there used to be people in high school doing internships. They used to come from BDI and other places and go do internships. It's if we reintroduce that for our seniors to be doing internships, or for those that want to go to college and start taking 1 or 2 classes at community colleges or universities. That way we cut down on the clutter and that happens at freshman year at the university and several other universities, because you have a bunch of people coming at the same time. But if you stagger it, then you have some people in high school taking freshman classes, and so freshmen is not always cluttered. So you kind of stagger that way. That is the first proposal I made in the way we rethink and revamp.
So let me ask you this: so when you do the 9, 10, and 11, are you still saying that in 12th grade, then you go for the real exam?
No, everything in 9, 10, and 11 is real. In 9th grade, we can decide to test, say, English and something else in 9th grade. So then the way we set up the education system is that you'll be done with really critical English by 8th grade. So 9th grade, at the end, you can either test English or science. And then 10th
Well,
grade,
how do you match that with the rest of the West African nation?
That's the point. Right now, we're not even measuring the rest of the West African nation. You're drawing a test that is not culturally relevant. You got people go sit somewhere. You got some librarians that go there and say they're part of the testing team. But how many times have you had a question on WIAC asking about the writings of Baltimore or William Sankawulo? We still on things fall apart. Things have been falling apart in Nigeria for a long time. We need to start teaching things that advocate for what's happening in Liberia and elevate Liberian writers. That is for me, that is the bigger point about that. It doesn't make sense to have a regional curriculum. I've never understood what was the logic behind it. It doesn't make sense to have a regional curriculum because we don't have a regional tradition and a regional culture. Education is supposed to validate and amplify the culture and the tradition of a place. How do you teach the monkey bridge? That's why people have not been to monkey bridge. To even look at what is happening in it. How do you teach Madame Swakoko and test on it? That's the reason we keep complaining that people vote and they don't understand civics because we don't test on civics because we're using a regional curriculum, a regional testing environment.
Okay, the reason I tend not to go in because I saw the article is great, and I know there's going to be another phase going to come out because it's troubling with the entire educational system. And what Sister said is just a validate what Dr. Jones, he said here when he was in Ghana, there was original testing. Going to college, did everything he's supposed to do, which is part of the regional system. But guess what? They said that you think what you did, you got to go back to Liberia. We can't accommodate you here. So then what is it? I think there should be, it is time now to have, come on, we are in the 21st century. There should be I think there should be a fight for everybody. People, I see it's a complete burnout on these young people, taking I don't know how many subjects for weeks and weeks. And guess what? Some of you have a trend. These people demand money. It's unbelievable the money they are asking for to these children without even calling parents and parents for this teacher. But they just go to the student and tell them, "Oh, you need to bring this. You need to do this." We need to really find time to have these conversations. I hope the authority in the educational system in the country, they will be able to unveil themselves to have these critical issues. But I wouldn't be surprised even with the MCSs now when they start to cut off from you because that's what they do. The only people they can accommodate is the Jared Bacon and the Samson Toll type who always wants to be the fixers and everything is okay when it is even bad. That's why they have in their program now. They look all here. My name was there to take it off.
They added Jared Bacon to Ina.
That's what Samson pushing. They took Stacey from there. They say Mali, Samson told them Mali is pushing capital punishment, whatever reason, so they carry in liberal. Jared Bacon might most likely join before the program starts. Watch and see. But how long John can stay on in army? That day UG Fagon, that's something UG Fagon they will bring there. We'll come here and talk that other case. Let me go to Mr. Bacon. Mr. Bacon.
Yes, sir. Well, my brother, thank you. Thank you. I read an article today, and I glanced through it. When I was to work, I saw it. I said, well, that's good. But here's the thing. The article is a work in progress. For the saying is that, I mean, you lay in the foundation, it can be modified, and our government need to look at it from different perspective. And from my end, I will look at it from a different perspective. Most of our teachers who are teaching our country, some of them even get class A or class B lesson. So when these children read to it, by the time they reach the 9th or 10th grade, they cannot even read at a level of 4th grade or 5th grade student. So these are some of the things. Let's look at the dropout rate, like you said in your presentation. And also those who fail in the 12th grade in the national exam, they feel humiliated to go back in that class again because they know they already finished graduating. So, and for that reason, they live in a vacuum. And not been discussed. Where do we put these people? Because They can't go back to school to wear the uniform again because all they know they're finished graduating, or the man finished giving a graduation fee, or they finished paying the $60 for the graduation fee. Then now you go against who are going back to school because I'm passing the national exam, and they're so ashamed to go back to that school. So it's a lot. I mean, thank you for putting light on it, but it's a work in progress, a working document. We can modify and do something. And yes, and most of the people that, especially our girls' children, and when they drop out, guess what happened? But by the time you go look, they began a mother, and they can't go back to school because of poverty. Let me say that I know I got something I wanted to talk about it, human trafficking today, but senior brother, that's fine. That's one of the things. Our children today, especially the girls' children, they are vulnerable because there's no food. I'm not saying the boys are not hungry, but the issue of hunger. Because when I started school, way back in B and W, we used to have, how do you call it, Tabata, to be exact. We had care food, and someone would live with people. Eh? When you go to school, at least you want to go to school because at least you get something to eat. But today, most of our students, they go to school hungry, so they can't even think. How can you go to school, or let child who is in first grade, she or he are not even go to school? Then he stay there up to what, 2:30 or 3 o'clock before you come home to find food. What time do they have to study? So, but anyway, that's the point. But this is my talking point today. I brought it up, and I'm going to stay hard time.
Okay. Thank you so much. Dr. Jones?
Yes, for my talking point tonight, I have few congratulatory message for His Excellency for some information that I sent my tracking team to make the assessment on. It's a very good news, and we'll be discussing it further. But before going into that, I just want to take my hat off to Sisi for starting this topic. But my question to Sisi here is this: in the first place, do we really need WIAC in our country? That's the first question. And the second question here now is, we may have all the spectacular analysis about the educational system in Liberia. Okay. Are all the analysis resonating with the president and the education minister? And if the answer is no, then it's like business as usual. The last time the educational minister went all over the place, that was a very good initiative. I really commend her for that. But I want her to go a bit one step further to put in a survey so we identify a problem through a well-organized system. Then we can speak and quote data that this is the issue, all right? But what I noticed now, Mr. Goyer, I think WIAC have become another revenue generation stuff in life. So that substance is no longer there. Because I know all the money the people can pay, I'm sure they can send a portion back to Liberia to keep the offices running. So it has become a rather cash cow operation. All right? Even the kids, they're doing this thing. But here is my problem. Ghana, Nigeria, they started this whole thing. They have upgraded their system. They have good textbooks, but yet they march up on the scene line with what they do there when we are still down. Look, we just came from war. All our schools are down. We don't even have classroom. The children, some of them even sitting on floor. Their system is still intact. Their children are sitting on benches using good books, get good teachers who have been trained, and we still catching up with them, but they're still putting on par. So how the children will not keep failing in our country? How? So there are a lot of academic injustice in there. But actually, the point here is that do we really need WIAC? Or should we rather develop our own standardized system? Because the thing has become more of a business than academic. All right. Should I go into my topic now, or we'll come back to it?
Well, let's just say that I know you asked a question, and you can add it, and then Sissy can, because you asked a question, let Sissy respond to that.
Because the quick answer is, Mr. Jones, no. I think WIAC has outlived its usefulness, if it was ever useful. And I think you're right. We have people sitting in the ministry in a testing department. So why are they there? We have a whole testing department. What tests are they doing? So in most countries, you nationalize your curriculum. And the way to do that is to create your own national testing. And so, again, the point comes back to the reason we don't teach Madame Swakoko, the reason we don't teach the Yela War in Lofa, the reason we don't teach about Lango Lepe is because we're not testing on those, right? And so then there are kids growing up in Swakoko and know very little, if at all, anything about Madame Swakoko. There are folks going to Lango Lepe High School and know nothing about Lango Lepe. And there are folks growing up in Zozo, right next to the Yela War, that knows nothing about the relevance of that war. And we have the swing bridge called the monkey bridge that people pass in every day, and we know very little about it because we don't test on those, because we have not nationalized our curriculum like most countries do. So to answer your question in short, it is not useful. It's a useless tool we're spending money on. It is not necessary. We have more than enough qualified people to come up with an assessment. If we still want to test people to say you graduate, or come up with an assessment that is really a Liberianized assessment system.
Okay. I don't know. I think a real conversation is needed. The school system is just so bad, and that helps to make the children, the kids, to get engaged in, because if you are not overseas and you get a child daughter who is going to school, who is determined, they will be forced to subscribe to things because they want to make their way, and that's what get them to go. Because I mean, there is no organized system. The people, they request, they take money from people. I'm not saying it never used to happen, but it has gone to a next level. Everybody doing their own thing, no regulation, no control. If they ever had any regulatory, it's just dead, because from what we're saying, it's just so bad. Yeah, what's your talking point, Jones? And then we'll go to Mr. Bacon.
Yeah, my talking
I
point.
don't know what else to say. I want to throw you something. He just made a comment, but let's hear you, what you're concerned, and we'll come back to it.
Yeah, my talking point here tonight is actually to give His Excellency President Boakai some of his flower tonight. I have a tracking team in town there that go around to actually look into initiative of this government. And something that is in the making, it has not come out yet. They are still working on it, but it's a very good news. His Excellency and his team, they are trying hard to increase civil servant wages, and that's a good news. Secondly, I've been told from reliable sources that the civil servant will be paid according to degree, position, rank, and experience. And that's a very good news. And lastly, I was told that first degree holder will be having extra $150 to be attached to their salary. This is something that I think were not recognized by previous government. Is that if I'm at LPRC, I can go lobby and they carry my salary up. But I think the president is coming from the position where he wants to decentralize this type of policy, where people are paid for their experience and their degree. And this is a very good news, but I learned they are still working on it. But this is from an inside source, and I want to commend the president for that. And this is how independent we are on this platform. Now we move on the downside. The downside here is that His Excellency is still struggling to control his government personnel. Yes, there's no total coherence in the messages coming from Liberia. Mandela Cooper is saying one thing, and the Jerry Bacon and loyalist chorus group saying another thing. The president addressed one thing today, and the next day when he doesn't address other things, they say, oh, you get a president chance. You see, we want consistency in government. You see, we all on the platform, we've been wishing well for the president to succeed. No Liberian will be on the platform that will not wish His Excellency to succeed. We want him to succeed. But equally so, when there are missteps, we need to point it out and make some suggestions and move forward. Are you our host?
Thank you so much. Mr. Goya, I know you started off with this here. I don't know what are you, I know the Limbo started off with a question, so that didn't allow you to bring in your talking point. If there was anything specific you have in mind, there are a lot of things, too much just ongoing now.
I almost, you're picking lies now. I think that's my point. So for me, I'm just focusing on the bigger one now to pick. And for me, my bigger lies I want to pick right now is about, I want to give a really shout out to Dr. Jala, the Minister of Education, and like my brother Dr. Mali said, she went out on a tour of the country to look at facilities and talk to stakeholders and gather information. I've spent the last maybe 36 hours on the Ministry of Education website. That's moeliberia.com. I posted it in on the comments for those that want to go there. She actually has an education sector plan, which is what I've been digging into, and it runs from 2022-2023 school year to 2026-2027 school year. Yeah. They're looking at that. So I'm going to be spending a lot of my time in there looking at it. I'm making recommendations where we think recommendations need to be made. The question was asked by Dr. Mali, whether the government will listen. I don't know. I truthfully don't know. But what I'm waiting to do is to put out there what I know, and let people tear it apart. Like Mr. Bacon said, there could be many ways to look at this, and things could be edited. But at least we have the conversation. The one thing though I found problematic about the website, and I'm a website person, is everything else is okay, but when you scroll down to where they start talking about opportunities, they have, I don't know if that's a purple background, and they have writing in blue that you can hardly read and some scribble. I think the ministry needs, whoever is doing their website needs to redo that, because this is where people go to find scholarships, and if you can't even read it, how are you going to know what is there? So that's just my one critique. But she's done a good job of putting out that sector reform. And I'm going to spend a lot of time reading it. I haven't read the whole thing, so I can't make any critique of it. But I just want to say it's out there to other people who might be as interested in the education sector. It is out there. And to my brother, Mr. Bacon, that's one of the things we're also going to be advocating for. Because here in America, and I'm speaking as a classroom teacher, there are students that come to school hungry. They do. But what we do here in America is we feed them. The care food that you talk about, is there. So that's one of the reasons we want to be looking at the data that comes from WIEC, is we're going to be comparing the urban-rural split, right? And we're going to be looking at what are the reasons, if there are any, for the urban-rural split in how kids achieve and the graduation rate and all those pieces. Some of them might with the fact that when our girls are on their regular monthly period, they can't go to school because there is no health facility. Right, there are a whole lot of things that we need to be able to tackle, but we need to look at it holistically. So yes, school feeding and the health of students is one of the things we're looking at. Like I said, this is the first in the series, and we're hoping to put out a lot of recommendations out there. And we hope people, would take it or throw it away, whatever way, but we're going to put it out there.
Yeah, CEO, before you come in, I just wanted to share something with Mr. Goya. I got a friend that probably I will try to link you up with. They are fighting similar thing in Haiti. But what they decided to do was, there are certain things in the educational ministry they feel that are causing problem. So they decided to transform there into into law and challenge Parliament to pass it. Yes. So maybe we'll get into the detail later on. But I asked them why. They say the education ministry, the president, all the people in the system, the comfortable of what happening. So they now put it into law and find money and put team together to go down there now and start the fight with Parliament. Let it be passed into law.
Okay, let's go to Mr. Bacon. Mr. Bacon?
Yes. Let me say, something with Dr. John, probably he forgot him. He's an educator. He's a professor, academia. There's something called urgency rules. I mean, something that urgent. Even in the classroom, there's some student who need attention, and there are other students who can say, okay, they are doing well. So you need the urgency rule. That's what I just want to apply to you. The president of the Republic of Liberia, there are certain things, it's urgent, he will respond to it when it's necessary.
Oh.
Okay. So the urgency rule. Not everything the president have to go on, somebody go do something and say, oh, the president well delivered today. So for that reason, the president got to go and go talk about it. So that's why I just want to be, but here's my talking point I want to stick to.
Urgency rule.
Yeah, look at it. Google it and you see what the urgency rule is. Anyway, you see the ambulance coming, everybody have to give it because of urgency, so everybody have to pay attention. Even if you went to the hospital in an emergency room right now, somebody foot is broken and somebody who got brain injury, they will tend to that person urgently because full broken body can take care of it. It's orthopedic. But anyway, here's the point I want to make to you. I want to make to our listening audience. I started this evening with human trafficking in Liberia. It's a serious matter. We need to address it because it's hammering our economy, it's hammering our security. Our security are not trained enough. Our immigration, go on a website. Just Google U.S. Department report. You will see what it is. Our immigration, they are not prepared. That means they are not prepared. They are not adequate. They don't have the logistics to work with. Our labor ministry people are not trained to find these people. So it's an epidemic in our home, especially when it comes to the human trafficking. It is a serious matter in our home. It is time for all the stars to put real attention to it. And 2024, 2018 or 19, I wrote an article called Human Trafficking in Liberia. And I was ostracized because certain people in the government, they say I was putting my money into the government. So I received a lot of bad feedback. And now it is awakening for me. So definitely I'll be a lot of issues. I'll be talking about it. Or I'll make some publication again.
Okay, the liberal.
Can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
Yeah, I've been having some issue with my equipment here. But go ahead. What's your question?
You have an issue with your equipment. I think you listen to your colleagues. So I think more or less the education part seems to be the dominant thing now. So I'm wondering here, should they call like a national conference to take a revisit? Are they willing to listen, especially with the YA? The number of subjects here, down here is kind of it's narrowed down, and that helps students to build their career, to keep them to focus. You look at the students and people help them, okay, you will be more productive or what you plan doing, then they focus to prepare you, which eventually, but you have 16, whatever the number of subjects, you just kind of like throw everything on the child. And perhaps some of them are just not necessary. It's not like a prerequisite to their, major, but you just throw everything out there. Now, seriously, Liberal is responding. I'll just bring you on the side, and Dr. Jones, who is also in the area there. Do you, at some point in time, this day, we should take a complete overhaul or revisions of the program? To say what I mean. Yes, we are accustomed to this thing with being on this thing and for but there's need now that we have a new approach to this system here because I'm not sure whether it has helped, and I don't think it's helping. But everybody we are complacent because we used to it. So that is that kind of fear that if you touch this, then you are breaking tradition or you are breaking the culture that has been planted there for years, for decades, and perhaps they're going to backfire on you. But to be honest, I think this is where this president here, and I was talking to people. There are a lot of things, even somebody, the system right now to even have like a budget, certain amount, it has to go through the marshal. Guess what? We are then did it, but they didn't put it into use. Everybody was using it. So I think people, the mindset or what they thought that they were being a so easy match on with this president is not happening. So I wouldn't be surprised when hairs start to roll before the year comes to an end and other people because I think he has a mission, and that is to get things done, to get things changed, to get it not as usual, which he has said over and over. But it looks like people thought maybe it was just these sort of normal politics they're talking and they're going to just get a walk through over it. But want to wait to see and whatever be action. Like, for example, it was very spontaneous. I read a press release regarding to Dr. Nelson with the University of Liberia. He said, with the advice and consent. So, in as much he as a chief executive, there was a consultation with the board of trustees that maybe they felt this guy was not handling. He could have taken the action as a president, but there was some elaborate conversation here. And the president wasted no time. He took immediate actions. That's what a good leader does. That's how you handle things. You can't say, oh, this person is my friend, and you're looking at this soul here, it eventually turn into a cancer, and then you want to do it. Because if Jerry back on and Samson told where the advisor, this president will not be taking the decision that he's taking. Absolutely not. If Samson told was the advisor, Jerry back on, he will not be taking some of these decisions because everything is okay with them. Samson told.
Okay. Let me just say this here. I'm not going to listen to your tabata, but I will respond to it anyhow. For me, Mr. So, these things go both ways. On one hand, I'm thinking to myself, the young people like the Sese Goya and the rest of the young people are being aggressive to bring this issue to light because it's very important. And many of these young people work in the country as a diaspora resident in whatever it is. They work in these different universities, school districts, and they see how they are contributing to these people, kids' future. Whereas they themselves, many of them grew up in the countryside, went to some of the public school, walked to school, and they still see having had the opportunity themselves to improve themselves and now helping these people in the diaspora, kids, to improve their lives and for their future, but yet still they are unable to contribute whatever it is to their own brothers and sisters who are now repeating the same process they went through to get that education. And they are anxious and they're being very aggressive. You have to, because these are the things that people are doing in this modern world, and their lives are being improved through the educational process. And we have the tools. Let's utilize it. On the other hand, there are those who are saying, yes, we appreciate your aggressiveness, but we do things with culture. First, in order for us to do X, Y, and Z, we have to get the community involved. We have to talk to the people to say what we want to implement. The new ideas you young people are bringing are indeed going to benefit the entire community. But in order for them to understand that, they will have to be brought on board through explanation, education, whatever process. Because what Sese is suggesting here, for example, if those kinds of things to be implemented fully in Liberia, Liberian students themselves must be on board. Their parent must be on board because their parent gonna have to make sure that they study for the 9th grade exam, 10th grade exam, 11th grade exam. But if the parents are unable to contribute to fully support their kids, you can put it on a book, you might not be successful. So these are the two ideas that are now competing with each other. But my thing is, Mr. So, on a very serious note, as an engineer, and I'm speaking from an engineering background, when you do a project or when you're involved into any kinds of design, they have what they call peer review. Because a roadway design is like an act, even though you do the calculation and things like that. So you do things, and those lines and things that you put in there become personal because they're coming from you, from your soul. And now you're turning it to somebody else to redline, to look at it and say, oh, I don't think I like that. I don't think I like that. You have to go through that. Not only what the person is doing is going to be helpful to you, you might not agree with it, but through that red line process, you will also see things that you yourself have missed. And so these kinds of situations, even in the educational system, the people that are running the institution must allow Liberian diaspora to be fully involved, not necessarily paying them. But you must have these type of conferences. For example, you have a conference on Friday. It's okay. Sister Goyle, Dr. Malley, you find another person from Florida, another educator from Florida. Come and lecture us. All they said that Dr. Malley go to Liberia, you and not one Minister of Education to fee. He can eat your own food over there. Okay. The only thing the most likely will ask you, transport us, so that you will have. It's not like they're not able to transport themselves, but they will feel if you pay their way, you have taken ownership of whatever they're going to contribute over there, because you have skin in the game now. And these people will be willing to come and have a lecture, have a conversation with the educators. When you do that, the people come back. They will also learn from you in Liberia. Because there are things you're doing over there that they probably don't have a clear understanding of it. But by you explaining what it is you're doing, they will say, okay, how do we tweak it together? These are Liberians. They are not strangers. So, Mr. So, for me, in order for this country to move forward, we have to take the engineering approach where we come and collaborate from day one. If you don't do it, if you don't work together, we're going nowhere. If people think in Liberia, they got appointed and another PhD, I told the man want my job. You think like that, you will not succeed. Yeah, Sister wrote something today. And there's a guy that replied in one of his stuff. The guy said, I have plenty of tea right here. I got time for I wouldn't want short tea. I got want to read short tea and gossip. Like plenty of boy, you coming right here. But even though he was joking, but there are people like that. How do you deal with those people? Because you need them on board for you to move forward. So for me, Mr. So, I think this is a very conversation, good conversation that I think people need to listen to. And even if you don't like the liberal progressive, who is ridiculous most of the time, but if I have an idea, give me an ear. You don't have to take it, and let's have a conversation.
But you don't give people your ears, and that way you cut people off. So how possible that people going to really give their ears? So, Dr. Malik, I know.
Well, so who you the lawyer for the people now?
Yeah, okay, Dr. Malik, I'll just that's an area that's a passion. This whole education system. If you were to be called today, what we want you to contribute to your country. But you being out of here, you see what is happening. You are visiting here. What could be a recommendation that first quickly to be addressed or to have a national conversation, to have a talk with the entire educational program in Liberia now. Or maybe if you want to put it into categories, you need to take this from the elementary, the junior high, the seniors, or even at a college, university. But overall, if you were to talk to all the ministers today, you are happy to she took a tour, which is a really good thing to get a clear-cut idea. What are these conditions the kids are learning even conducive? Are they contributing factors to have all of these math failures? Why people don't even want to go to school? People want to go to school in a conducive atmosphere. You go to school, you go sit down on the floor, teacher using cloth or web the dive, how they call bowl, if it is there, or these sort of unbearable stuff here. How will you intend to engage with how her feeling like this guy he offers something?
Well, I think my first approach would be, first of all, to identify the problems. What are the problems? We have been talking about problems, but I don't know how legitimate are these problems. I don't have any facts to suggest that school of teachers are not qualified. I don't have that facts. I've been hearing it. All right. So the first thing I want to put in place is I'm going to call what I call an educational national conference to be here in Kakata, BWI, where I will invite all the student council around Liberia to this meeting, and let us speak to the problem they've been faced. That's the first thing. And in that meeting, I will also invite the teachers. Someone else said they are not being paid. I don't have evidence of that. So I will gather all the information, which will help me to put in place a survey to come up with a concrete and reliable data that I can point out and say, yes, so percentage of teachers are not qualified or they need training. So schools are down, no chairs, no this, no that. The University of Liberia is being infiltrated with corruption, according to the data. So I will not be speaking with facts. Then the next thing now is I will look at all these facts and advise the president. Mr. President, this is what I have come with, and this is the problem I have found with the university and the school system in Liberia, across Liberia. This is my proposal. Okay, so that would be one aspect. The second aspect would deal with the structural systems, like what Sister just brought in. I will have to test I will have to look for the weaknesses and the strength of WIAD. Is it benefiting the Republic of Liberia? Is it a money-making thing? All right. I may even try to talk to parents. So this time around, get the parent involved into the discussion. Let them voice what is on their chest about the educational system. Okay. Then the next group you're going to talk with now is the intellectuals in the diaspora, like Cesar and other people. Come to the diaspora and call an educational meeting. Gentlemen, our educational system, I want to hear from you guys. Let people present paper. You see? So you put all these things together, you advance the president. Say, look, I went abroad, but I noticed half of the people were talking about this. And even the wire thing, I don't have enough evidence, but people are seeing the wire thing who don't need it. Only 5 countries in West Africa doing wire. We have in 16 countries. Why this thing here? These are the weaknesses I saw with wire. This is what I think need to be replaced. And it has to go through law. So this is where I will come from. Instead of being complacent, to go in the ministry there and say, oh, the testing system is okay. So what I see in the ministry right now, the minister has come into the ministry and it's like business as usual. She said, oh, that how it being done. Okay, we'll go that way. All right. Oh, why? Yeah, we can't touch this thing. It being around since 1952. Oh, no problem with A. You know, so this is what I see not only with the Ministry of Education, but most of this in Liberia. You see, so these are some of the comprehensive presentation I will be making to the president.
Okay.
So in other words, I will get myself out of the picture and present the view of the people in the form of data and coming down to the weaknesses. And like what they do with the TRC. If possible, you Isaac, can I recall you? Can I write your statement? You know, so we meet as a stakeholder now and come up with something. So this would be my approach on the educational thing with the excellence.
Yeah, no, we came out late, so we're gonna make up that time. Yeah, but let me have Cece to speak on that. Then I want to bring in Jerry back on to expand on this article here as well with this trafficking. What is it doing that is also that needs government attention in order to address all of it, because the young people have been badly affected. But let me just get Cece take on this. Cece.
Yeah, sorry, I had to use my cell phone. My computer kind of went crazy on me, it's telling me my mic is being used. So sorry about that. I think to Dr. Marty's point, that makes sense. You need to have data before you can come out any informed prescription. But there is a report. It's also on the ministry's website, and I had it downloaded. I've looked through it. And it's been there for a while. It was a report produced in 2021, 2022, actually about the outgoing government. It's called the Education Statistics Report. And in that, it talks about a lot of stuff. But one of the things that we were talking that I quickly went to look at, it actually looks at, it says 50.1% of teachers in Liberia did not have the credential as defined by the 2011 Education Act to be teacher. So 50.1%.
50.1%?
50.1%. This report actually look at quality of teaching, look at number of teachers, look at qualification of teachers in specific areas, because, you know, you have some people who, I'm going to LU, I'm majoring English, but they got me teaching math here, you know, all of those places. So that data is actually there. Look at promotion rate, look at repetition rate, kids who repeat the same class over and over. It looks at it across gender. It looks at it at students to textbook ratio. If students have the textbook, the use of the curriculum, it is a very rich data, collection of data. It goes across the entire nation, although it was for 2021 to 2022. And I'm hoping that this minister can come up with something that reflects 2023 to 2024 that we can be able to look at and see maybe if there's been an improvement. Because to Dr. Marty's point, if we're looking at this, and this got released by Dr. Ansu Soni during the Propo agenda time, and they did nothing about it. If you have 50.1% of people who are not appropriately credentialed teaching, what were you doing to make sure that A, we're not excising them out of the system, but that we're trying to get them regularized? What were we doing to make sure that these people get the appropriate credential? Because you can't get rid of 50.1% of your workforce, right? That is not going to happen. And then they talk about, you know, repetition, students repeating the same grades. But what was the agenda by the government to then say, okay, we got so many kids that are repeating the same class. What is the reason for that? How can we make sure we remedy that? There was nothing like that. And so I'm actually hoping that with what this minister has done with going around, that she's collected enough data, she and her team, and that they can also look at the WIAC data and sparse it out so that some of us who like data and would like to make decisions based on data can look at it and see what are the variances, what are the gaps, what are the splits between rural, urban, between genders, between tribes. Let's look at those. Let's look at between regions, and let's see what accounts for those splits and how can we provide prescription. But to the larger point, and I said it last time when it came to the issue of the legislators paying themselves way too much money, and I said this president needed to take an action and needed to veto the bill funding the government. and the budget, and let the legislature override his veto so the Librarian Board can see. But somebody has to stand in the way of the usual. So as Newton said, an item at rest remains at rest, and an item in motion remains in motion until acted upon by an external force. We will continue to have the same process unless an external force act upon these things to stop them. So I'm hoping this minister can be able to say to the Liberian people, enough is enough. The process does not work. Why has not worked? Look at the data. When you get our students, even from the most affluent schools in Liberia, they come here, they're still reading the low grade level. They're still doing math the low grade level. So it hasn't worked. Somebody has to be willing to say enough is enough. The Liberian people are so important to me that I'm willing to risk my job, and I'm going to say this is where we're going to draw a red line, and we cannot continue to do business as usual because the data of business as usual has not been working for our people.
Quickly here before Jerry pick up the last few minutes that we have
before you come in, just 1 minute. The question you just asked, so say, I'm going to set aside all data I will meet in our ministry as a new minister and come up with a comprehensive, up-to-date data, because we know in our system there are a lot of fraud. I'm not going to go with that. I'm going to set it aside.
Then I was do me a favor quickly before I jump into Mr. Barker here. That data, is it independent research report, or is it strictly from the ministry? From what you see so far?
Actually, it was a collaboration between Global Partnership for Education, UNICEF, the World Bank, and UNIDO. So it was a partnership not just by the Ministry of Education, but of external intellectuals also.
Reputable institutions, organizations were involved. Okay. Yeah. Mr. Barker, let's tap into you here. It does have an impact here. The sins of a nation, sex trafficking and prostitution in Liberia. We will try to expand on these things here because there are so many root causes where we have this sort of failing society, and good folks are recognizing this, but are we willing? Even we talk about it, all of these things, you can have a symposium, you can have a workshop, you can get the best people to do it, to go talk, but it requires the financial resources in order to achieve this, because you're going to invest into it. You're not just going to talk one time and leave. You want to go to urban Liberia, other places, rural Liberia, and all of that, and tell people by visual, not just only the auditory aspect of it, anything possible. Quickly here, let's have you as the security analyst to take on this task here. You are Washington, and so I think Joseph White can listen to you and something better than me, because you guys have demonized us on this network as if we are against it. We are not a resistance force. Dr. Jones and myself and other few people are just like-minded, independent, just try to represent what is good, unlike you and Samson to is have your own thing. But on a serious note here, if you were privileged to talk to the president, which of course I know you can make some WhatsApp or whatever call here, who will you address this issue in order to get the results that you want it to be attained?
Well, we have to work with the Minister of Justice, and we also have to work with the legislature, because you see, anything we do, even if you go to the president, at the end result, they have to go to the legislature. And if you read the item, what I wrote, probably you can put it on, put it in the chat room. Probably people will read it and see what it is. But the question here is, we have to be serious on the issue. It's got too much implication of our society, and the Justice Ministry have to work with the set of the task force who's going to deal with this thing, and go to we have to send it to the legislature, because they don't want to have to allocate the money for us to do it. I can read a whole book, a encyclopedia, and give it to the put it in a newspaper. I mean, I would just be an advocate individual, but I have to come with the legislature. But anyway, let me come to seeing the education Sonny Abedito. We can take another time to address that issue. Since you're pulling on the West, pulling our child. But here's the thing I want to address too. I'm looking at it from my brother Sese article, and as I was reading it this evening, I look at it from a different perspective, from security perspective. Juvenile delinquent, you know, these people drop out of school. What are we going to do with it? What are their own responsibility within the community? The parents. And at the end result, guess what? They got caught in the crap out. And society began to ostracize them because they are dropped out of school. And some of them became dangerous in our society. And they tended to be criminality behavior and all these things. So they are I commend him. I will work with him to give him some perspective from law enforcement perspective. How do we, those who are not failing in the society and society are ostracized them, how do we incorporate them back in our society, or how do you call it, community integration? You know, so there are a lot of stuff that so I will work with him on the security perspective. You know, how we can work with the education system, because that's the only way Liberia can move forward. You must say sitting on the platform tonight because at least we'll have some education and we have the experience in the places we are working. So it is important that what he brought up, we can address it. But I just wanted to, one of the things I want to close on is some of our parents, it's required by legislature that in this country, the child is 6-year-old, she or he's supposed to be in school. There's no requirement. Look at our people. You know, children go into place, but they're not in school, they start school very late. Or child delinquency. So all these things is part of the relevancy of our education system. That child coming from maybe from dysfunctional homes, some of them, we don't even have special ed teacher in our country. Some of the children, you know, how do we incorporate these people into the society? So I agree with him. And maybe after the show, you know, I will get his number. And if he can send me his number, you know, we can sit and have a favorite discussion from my professional, how we integrate the people into our society. So I just want to.
Okay. Yeah, times really didn't do all good. But Sese, you were talking something about this whole testing here. I want you and Malik to speak on it here. It said with the Ministry of Education, and if it is a testing the department, what actually is their role? Are they having this wire thing that is the ministry? Is it under the purview of the ministry, maybe to reach to the schools, to have the children to be, to have them to prepare to, give them the support needed, the materials to have them prepare, or they just there? So what are they testing? What are they doing?
That's a very good question, but to just address something, Brother Bacon, I would love to partner with you. But the article I wrote is actually just only talking about WIAC right now. I was talking about the testing piece. The education sector reform, we will be happy to have you. I was just talking to somebody in Liberia today, and somebody who's going to Liberia to go and work with rehabilitation. And I was talking to them about how we educating people that we're getting off the streets, these Zogos and Zogis, and I apologize for the derogatory term. But these people who are hooked on drugs, how are we rehabilitating them? I in my district, we have the largest county, Hennepin County, the largest city, Minneapolis. We have a juvenile detention center in Minneapolis. We are responsible as a school district for educating those kids. I'm responsible for their math curriculum. We have hospitals here. Ronald McDonald's house, where a lot of people come to. Sometimes they're terminal and they come with their kids. We're responsible for teaching. I got teachers that go to the hospital, got hospital schools to teach them. So those are some of the things we're hoping to provide in when we come up with a comprehensive plan for Liberia on how are you teaching people that go to South Beach. If somebody commits a crime, you send them to South Beach and you keep them for however long. And you don't rehabilitate them, you don't provide them education, you don't provide them skills, and they come out. Chances are they're going to just repeat the offense and go right back in. And so those are some of the things we'll be looking at on a greater scale, but I would love to have your input as a security person. To answer the question, though, Mr. So, I really don't know whose purview it is going to be to have this structural change, and there's some of the reasons we're still doing research. We don't know if it's by law that they have to have their structural change, or we don't know if it's just by the stroke of pen that the minister says we're changing this and we're doing this. One of the things, although, is that they already have a national curriculum layout. And so all that would need to be done from the ministry endpoint is to adjust those curriculum and to what my brother was saying with the 16 subjects and stuff, that we gotta stagger stuff. You can't keep taking 16 subjects from 3rd grade all the way to 12th grade. Right? You don't need it. We need to stagger certain things and we need to test in certain things. So those are some of the expertise we are hoping to offer for free to the nation if they ask us to help them out. I'm not leaving my job to go take a job in Liberia. I'm going to say that again. But we can offer the help for free. But there actually has to be a national conversation on how do we revamp our educational system. Everybody in Liberia knows this hasn't worked. This system hasn't worked. How do we revamp it? But to answer your question, I really don't know whose purview that's within to change the process. However, I do know the buck stops at the desk of the education minister when it comes to how our kids are progressing in school and how they're achieving or not achieving, the failure and passing rate in WIEC, the failure and passing rate in various classes before they get to WIEC level testing. All of those, the buck stops at the desk of the Minister of Education. And so I think this is where we need to look at data. She needs to have a team that can look at data and proper solutions and actually tell us what the problems are and proper solutions to the Liberian people. And most of these things might require maybe some law changes. It might just also require her collaborating, building partnership with diaspora Liberians, with parents on the ground, explain to them why it would be important to change the system, and taking them to the legislature and changing the minds of those legislators that might not want to change their mind.
All right, guys. What a great conversation. Politics tonight went at a very lowest level. The Lpr and his men back home they were doing everything possible to take us there, but we brought them to baseline and we managed to contain them. Dr. Jones, thank you so much. Anybody want to add a little bit also on there before we sign off?
Just one, not even a minute. On a very serious note, you just heard here tonight, Mr. So, a rate of view from all different disciplines and what have you. But this is why corrupt behavior in the government stop all of the progress. Everything Sissy talked about here, it takes money. But if people are stifling the process and siphoning off money from these places, that you won't be able to achieve any of those things. The country that's supposed to help you, your partner that's supposed to help you, they will only give you the minimum. And you have to utilize it to the fullest. And this is why when we talk about preaching against corruption, these are some of the things. Until we're able to, corruption, we're not going to eliminate it. But people are taking money, like the representatives, and they're getting that much pay. They're taking away, anytime they take extra amount, 100,000 for whatever, they're taking away things, simple thing. What Sissy talked about? You lock somebody up in central prison, that person's school business is over.
Okay.
You know, I thought that I just throw that in there. But thank you very much. It's a beautiful, beautiful show. I would say good night to you as well.
CEO, just to come in, it's like this is a very big fight. Fight in the sense that it involves a lot. All right, because even the lawmakers, some of them are high school dropouts, so education don't make sense to them. All right, it don't make sense to them once they're getting money, because it's you're going to school to get more money and live better life. So when you drop out, you get a career that bringing you more money. How much you can't defend you to improve? You don't have that knowledge. You don't have that mind. You see, like what Sissy said, it's a big package. You throw someone in prison, maybe this time around, now introduce vocational courses in the prison. By the time you leave from there, you equip to face somebody's house. Instead of becoming a vagabond, creating terror in the system, you become an asset. You see? So it's a very big picture. You
Yeah,
see?
and I want to have
But
these.
let me just take you down. Let me just take you down memory lane to the University of Liberia. The curriculum at the University of Liberia is not helpful. That curriculum is just about politics. The curriculum is not helpful. It's about time to review the entire curriculum at the University of Liberia so it helps with nation development. Go and check your statistics. Half of the people that graduate down there are all politicians. We don't even have space for them in our country anymore. Go to China. Half of the people that graduate in China are technicians. Okay? These are technologists. I mean, these guys, in fact, if you have time, go and study the Chinese educational system. It's very interesting. I'm telling you. And if I'm minister, I know maybe the president may not allow me, but we'll have to impose some of the Chinese system, the educational system in our country there.
We can't speak Chinese.
I got to realize that even in kindergarten, and in kindergarten in China, the children are exposed to military tactics, jumping over state. As little as they are, they carry all computer there for them to be playing with. All right.
All right.
So the issue of political science in China is zero. They post say they want to get involved in something that will make money and make them productive. In Liberia, producing more politicians. That's why the corruption not going anywhere.
Thank you so much. Mr. Jones, you wanted to say something quickly before we go? Or what? I saw you.
Mr. Backham.
Mr. Backham. Oh, Jesus Christ.
You're so used to this collaboration with you and Dr. Jones.
There's a co-host. He finished speaking, then he said, Mr. Jones. Mr. Jones just spoke, then he said, Mr. Jones again.
Yeah, then he said Mr. Jones again.
Maybe become a co-host. I gotta enjoy that privilege.
If you waste time, you pay your time. Go back to Dr. Jones.
Yeah.
That's all right. That's all right. That's what I say.
So I know you and
Red Wing on this show, they always try to marginal answer, but it's not going to happen anyway. But yes, it's out here, folks. The way far for Liberia, we are blessed. Personally, my ideology is before good thing happen, bad thing happen first. Today, if you go back in the 19th century, more Liberian was not in America. Today, we got a lot of professional people in America. And what happened after the war, we migrated here. Today, we have professional. Every spectrum of position in America here, Liberians are involved. Classroom, law enforcement, doctors, you name it, pilot, everywhere. A 22-year-old flew a plane from what? From Minnesota, all the way to Liberia and came back. So these are good things. So the only way Liberia will be built, the diaspora will build it with our ideas. I'm not saying we're going to go there and marginalize that because we come from America or because we come from Asia or we come from Australia. Because of the ideas that we have, the experience that we are getting here is important. The engineers, even down to the janitor, because some of our people, they do the janitor or something, they don't even know the kind of chemical to pour on the floor to wash the floor. People go in the hospital, they come back, they're sick because they don't even know what kind of chemical to pour on the floor. So these are important things. It's a good discussion tonight. Thank you. I enjoyed the show tonight, and I hope we'll keep it up.
True confessions. You enjoyed the show tonight. Do everything possible to distance yourself from the liberals.
You see, why you always try to be antagonistic?
You enjoy the show.
Why you trying to be negative again?
Why the liberal? You see this guy. You see the liberal. You see, because you say you enjoy the show, that's why he block you. He controlling. The puppet finger not sitting there beyond it. All right. Be careful with this guy here. This is the same man who didn't send the link to you the other day when you came on, but yeah, he claimed to call you a co-host.
It's a human make error. It's a human error.
Oh, Dr. Jones?
No, but that's not that.
Have you ever been able to convince a Trump voter that Trump is bad?
Oh my God, I can't wait tomorrow night. She will be nasty to Joe.
I tell you.
He asked me what I want to be nasty to Joe.
I don't think I will even have a show tomorrow night either.
Why?
What time is the debate?
Oh my goodness. Oh, look at the liberal fans. Fatumata. Oh Lord. Yeah. You can, and they say, just how you can convince the Trumpists, that's how you can convince the liberalists. Mr. Sese Goya, come again tomorrow so we can learn more about this topic. Let the president rest small, man. Oh my goodness. Yeah. What? So, Dr. Jones,
Yeah.
you see what liberal is, you see the liberal and his ally Jerry Barker, you see what they are doing? All right.
Bird of the same feather.
But yes, sir, thank you so much. Thank you so much, because you see, when people got any good thing to say, they always try to find a negative on you. So.
Yeah. Good night, guys.
Dr. Jones, my only advice to Mr. Bacon when it comes to the human trafficking, we got to identify the problem, because human trafficking have been around since I don't know when, and human trafficking is interwoven into so many things in Liberia. And number one, poverty.
All of the things, all the problems in Gulf, in the entire society, is all poverty. The touch barrier, that's where we get all of these problems here. Gentlemen, thank you so much for your time this evening. Mr. Goya, thank you so much. And hopefully maybe we can get some folks to talk about it. Mr. Bacon, thank you so much. And to all of our folks, our viewers and listeners, we say thank you so much. Fatima says she enjoys the show tonight. Yes, sometimes we have to, there are a lot of things going on where get the society to go the way it's going. It's good to have you here. We will stand out for these liberals. We'll fight them. It's not a physical fight. We allow them to speak. We allow them to expose themselves. We are not a group of people who that don't allow people to speak, because we do not want them. We do not want to hear their side of the story. We think Liberia as a country is involved, so everybody, we all have a share. We all have a say in terms of making Liberia to be what it is. I want to thank you so much, Fatima. You always stop the high engagers, and we want to encourage everybody to always encourage people. But I think if you guys can do us a favor, sometimes to just show face here and we just talk, so you can talk about how you feel about your country. What is this heightening? Why some people are doing what these sort of imaginable things. People here, the way they do things, they do it correctly, they live by the rule of the game. But by the time they leave from here to Kotoka or Lungi Airport or what about Abidjan and they hit in Liberia, they become a changed person. And they treat their country so badly. I think we need to have this sort of conversation, and it's good to hear from all sides of the aisle to have this national conversation. The lawmakers, people make crazy money. Some of them, the money they made, not even equals to the best economic world, the country in the world. They are not even paid. So when I look at them, sometimes they're doing this confirmation and doing this here and here. You are the root causes of all of these things, and then you want poor people to. We need to start questioning you people. And part of that, we just do not have, I'm not sure whether we have a strong civil society. And even if the civil society, the poverty has managed to infiltrate and diminish our human dignity. For this reason, it's just so bad. And one good thing I've said, because I've talked to someone inside, the mindset of most of those people, a lot of funny things going on, but the way they thought they were marched onto Zion, things they thought they would have just done so easily to get away under this president, is not happening. So people are unease. It is not happening at all, and that is getting there. And there was some laws in place under the weird government. For some reason, they were never executed. He was one of the chief architects of that. I don't know why they never put it into action, and that is they're working now. Ministry agency, they are setting amount before you do ending spending. It goes through the mansion. Those are how it used to work way back. It has to go through the mansion. And people are finding it very uncomfortable because people used to use government provision bad things and just take it in their homes. It shouldn't be that way. People exploit their own government. And then they turn around and say the government are doing this. And one of the things that they are doing, and I hope what Mali said tonight is something that will come to pass, and not just only it, but when civil servants are salaried, it becomes scoring, then of course they need to work. It's also bad. People sit home, they go to work 2 times a week in a month, and then they get paid. So they are cracking down, also checking to these people, checking them, you need to work. You're not working, how the hell you want to get paid? And just increase the size of government. That is wrong, and that's something we really need to, we all need to work. Esther Fatumata, I will host a special worship service here, and I will ask her to be my how you call it, how to call the people to carry plates in the church for those of you to do the top offering, because for whatever reason the liberal and Jerry Bacon has managed to successfully pressing on. But sooner or later, she will get to know these liberals, what they want to do. We saw how the Sal addressed this issue here. They try to slam, to bash Mandela Cooper now, that this action by Mandela Cooper, it was Mandela Cooper and the president or the executive. Come on. We can't be dishonest like that. Jerry Bacon came with a long design here, things that we're talking. He jumped from out of it, somersaulted 555 sign, almost broke his neck just because he won't be in support of the liberal. We'll stay on this platform here. We're not going no side. We will stay here. These two Baba that we don't get here. This old man called Samson Toe and this guy, Dana Rhode Island. This Baba here, Jerry Bacon. These two Baba, we get for enough for them. If not, we all could die one day. Because you two Baba, they're not fair. They bias. They don't believe in the rights of the people. I would love to have two of you here one day. I would love to have two of you guys here one day. I think that would be quite interesting. And but one good thing I like about this network and you guys, the conversation is always civil. Yes, and that's how it's supposed to be, even if I disagree with you. That's how it's supposed to be. You don't see anybody insulting anybody or saying any kind of thing because you just want to say it. That's the beauty of this network. And that is why sometimes if we are even tired, we think about you and we say, hey, we have our people out there who are committed, who count on us. Together, all of us share notes. We learn a great deal from you. You don't get mad, we say something against you or whoever you support. But guess what? You are always consistent. Very, very much consistent. And we want to thank you so much. So even if we are all beat up, think about a few people, think about the people that come here to share their time with us. Then I put cold water on my face to see to have a conversation. But I'm waiting. So they said they got a saying that say the black market can't leave the black hand behind. The liberal, Eugene Fagon, Fatiga, Dr. Lester Tandy, what the other person? I call Fatiga name. The liberal is there, Fatiga is there, Tandy is there. Who the other person? Eugene Fagon. I'm wondering to see what that program is all about. I sent them a message, they have not responded because I will wake up at 4 o'clock. I made a sacrifice. I want to listen to it. I think, let me see. He responded, I want to listen to it. I think, and I could be wrong, my own view, my own opinion, to try to give it a different sort of structure. I think they should focus on promoting what the government is doing instead of put yourself in an imbalanced position when you know it will not be. When you start breaking voices, when it start being extreme, when it starts speaking out louder and you try to cut them off, and then you show you picture the government to be bad. I don't know the intent, I don't know the motive, I don't want to be judgmental. But why they can't bring some other independent voices? Fatima, why you can't tell them? Why they talk liberal? So are they only people who agree with them? We'll wait and see. I'm waiting to see, and hopefully they will get back to us. That fact segment will relay it. I want to see how it looks like. If I were you, Fabons, I won't put myself in that position. You're a minister of government, a director general of the cabinet. Yeah, basically, that's a ministerial position. You attend cabinet meetings. Why would you want to go sit down there? But you know, the guy loved the camera like myself. So then the president put him somewhere with the hope to domesticate him, put him somewhere to contain him, like how we put people like pet or something in the zoo. So the guy found way, any kind of way to get out to say, to talk. And he's going to be on the state radio. Will he have that temperament? Or is he going there to what role is he going to play? That is interesting to watch and see. Until then, guys, thank you so much for your time. And again, you know, we've been having a really tough time in the ocean state of Rhode Island, France, with this whole bereavement. It's so sad. Last week, we were on a young person, another young guy this coming weekend again. And the following weekend, this weekend will be laying to rest, come with Calvin Dewey, who passed literally a week apart from that of our guy, Sam Brown, that was laid to rest. This weekend will be Calvin Dewey will be laid to rest. And like Republic Radio, I've been asked to hire to bring live the homegoing ceremony. And that will be Friday, Saturday, the week, Saturday, the funeral. I will be there. Then right after the independence, the weekend, right in the same Rhode Island, another young man. Ellis Stewart, the late Stewart, we all were in Freetown. We all were in Camp Waterloo. I didn't even to realize that lately until a friend called me from Minnesota. In fact, they had all traveled to Liberia a couple of weeks ago. He came back, fell sick 1 week, and that was 8. I'm not saying he took a sickness from Liberia. I'm hearing from family sources because he was sick. And Ellis Stewart, the July 5th weekend, will also be laid to rest. Like Republic Radio, have been contacted as well. Uh, we'll be bringing you the live happening. It's painful, but it is what it is. We say, may his soul rest in peace and life perpetual shining. For those of you of our viewers, our followers, our commitment, there are things also we want to do for you. But it's this country, you gotta get people consent. So if you have any important event that you want to get information out there or you want to be celebrated, just let us know. There's a way that we can figure out something. Family reunions, anniversaries, graduations, baby shower, whatever it is. Just shoot us a message and we can figure out. And if you're even part of something, like I said, we want money, not that we don't want money, but we want to work for something before we can ask for it. So we are not in competition with anybody. While we are in competition with quality conversation to mutual respect for one another, for our audience, whether they agree and disagree with us, for the tolerance of some of the things that we say here, but yet and still they are still here. So some of you part of different organizations. They want to have an event. Tell them, hey, Labrador Public Radio is available. It doesn't matter where they live. If you're in Alaska, say with Sarah Pennant, as long plane can go there, we can go there. There's no way we will find it. And we just ask for a reasonable donation for the upkeep of this network. We do have folks. We run an official website. It's a full-fledged registered network institution. And the reason to get us to be like who we are is because we deny ourselves. We say everybody can take a side, and that should not be the role of a media institution. If I want to be a propagandist, that's a different thing. If I want to do a public relations, I want to do a public relations when I advertise your product or your conventions, then you give that donation to tell you we'll work out a deal you pay, but not for politicians. But it seems to me the politics of Liberia, and a French Australian journalist, the lady that runs this SLB, so Unity Broadcasting Corporation. She's Australian. She lives in Texas. She covered the elections in Sierra Leone. We're talking, and he said, "Bo, I tell you, the politics in Liberia, the politics in Africa, none of these plays. You get for take side. If you don't take side, you're not gonna get nothing." And that's true. If you don't take side, if you don't scream, if you don't yell, if you don't clap, if you don't sing for somebody, you are the bad guy. And we have seen that been happening from time to time. So the question becomes, should we go in that direction? Should we wave a flag? Should we join the Zion Grove praise sinker with Jerry Bacon and that of Samson Brown to the liberal? In order for them to call us to participate in our own country, democracy is a participatory process. So then what should we do by the grace of God if we are still around 2029? What should we do then? And if everybody were to involve in the process of taking side, we will support it. Who will stand in the gap? Who will intercede for the light independence and those who want to see their country moving in a different direction? And that's how the country is divided. And that's one of the reasons we reach out to people, we extend an invitation to have this conversation. But the first thing, so it's like, and this is so bad. If you are head of a group or an institution, you seems to be the Boku man. So because of my view, because of my opinions, or what I strongly believe are convictions, he has been the head of LPR, does not give me the authority that all decisions are made unilaterally. We have this conversation. Oh, the head of LPR, he had a person here, so we're not going there. So what happens to the other folks who are member or who sympathize with your candidate or who is the president? That's why we accommodate different views. And that's one of the reasons we are having this problem in the country over and over, not just only in the country, in the diaspora. When you are ahead of something, then they see you as the owner of that institution, and that is bad. We have to sustain, we have to make institutions to survive. You are here, you drive the agenda. For those agendas, you discuss it with your peers and people that are there. So you being here, you say, okay, how people are really in a consequential elections, and not even say elections. All of us say, okay, we'll go with CDC, we'll go with Boycott, we'll go with ANC. What becomes the ordinary people who say, well, I'm still looking to hear from these candidates to make up my decision? That's your problem solved. Yes, I call them, and we talk to them, they're supposed to talk to them. Oh, LPR here, not like Boycott. LPR here, not like CDC. LPR here, not like ANC. The day you talk it one day, you're a good man. The day you see it in a different form and context, you're a bad guy, or you are either uncover or on top persons or whatever way. You should really have power. And you don't have control about people's perceptions, what they think about you. My professor said, you don't worry about what people say. Just try to do the best. Try to do what you're supposed to do. Try to do the best, and it will show for itself. Not that the people never contacted or not that people never reached out to us. Since as far as 2017, way before the election. But we have a commitment. There is a preamble that this network represents. The nomenclature of the institution is, and we say we model the start of the National Public Radio, and that's why you see this program, all things considered, we didn't just grab it. The management in the Ocean State here visited the studio. In fact, there was an interview, and there was a lady. Let me see, it's good to have this picture here. You see here, NPR, that's a Rhode Island. That was, I think, 6-7 years ago. There was some sort of interview that I had the National Public Radio studio here in Rhode Island. This lady, Kristen Goulet, I remember her very well. Was the one I got in contact with. She was a health correspondent for the National Public Radio. She's no longer there. The last time I talked to her, no longer. Yeah, it's for the network. I think with either Washington or one of those big giant products, media stuff. So we all have to we are all serving our country in different forms, different shapes, and that's why it's important. Thank you very much. Have a pleasant evening. By God's willing, we'll be back here. And we'll continue to have these quick conversations. We have now reached that point. When the going gets tough and the tough gets going, what? You never know. And this is why we'll try our best to introduce variety of national conversation. And we are willing to accommodate suggestions from the audience. Maybe we need to have some people, so and that's what we say. We are open. Anybody who just have the time, you don't have to be a journalist. Just equip yourself with the subject matter. You don't even have to. And we will encourage people to send topics to us. There are some other issues. We don't talk about everything. We are so focused on the politics because that seems to be the dominant thinking because they are the decision maker for us. But there are some real issues that needs to be addressed. Different social issues, a variety of issues that need to be addressed. So if you think sometimes we having this conversation, there are some things that we are not talking about. It's not on purpose or it's not deliberate. Maybe we just never grab it that well as you anticipate. Don't hesitate. Send a message, inbox, text us. The number 682-433-8802 is available via WhatsApp. Hey, can you guys talk about this thing a little bit and leave this one and leave this one? Trust me, if that's something require us to do a research, we will also do research. Or even if you want to talk about why you think it's so important, jump right in. Don't mind the liberal fans. The liberal fans are determined they will not go away. But I am here, Esther is here, Dr. Mali is here, and the liberal and his patron Jerry Bacon, with the outstation manager, my own sister Fatuma Tan, who is the outstation manager. They were dead. We're all rough showed up at the end of the day. Better what happens for Liberia. Until then, folks, have a pleasant evening, and by God's willing, the liberal will be here. Let's watch what the Trump man, gonna say tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Evening, depending on your locations. I am Afonso Z and Salt of the Liberia Public Radio and Lpr-Tv. We want to thank you so much for your commitment to this network, being here with us every night, every afternoon, to every evenings, and having these sort of national conversation. It is amazing. It is only because of you, your courage, your resilience, and for the love overall, for the love of your country. You are not just here for us to see us while we talk, while we agree, while we do not disagree with, but ultimately to see the growth of your country. We want to thank you so much. We are thrilled, we are overwhelmed of your commitment to this network. All of you, whether you agree or disagree with us, by virtue of the fact that you are here every evening, every time we are on, it is a clear indication that we are all in it, regardless of our political background, for the good of the country. But just to give you a little bit backdrop of LPR now, Liberia Public Radio, we were not at this point. We started on a very small or sectional scale, a specific section in Granger County radio basin. As I will begin to push forward, we transition to voice of GD. And there's a tendency of saying that you always want to excel in whatever thing you want.
Okay, so I think I see here Esther is saying, so my wedding anniversary is Friday. Is that this 27th Friday, Esther? Are you sure have told me? Oh, okay. Well, send me a message if you want us. Yes, I should have a program on. I'm not sure what I'm going to be here on Friday because there's a week. This gentleman week I have to cover a, but trust me, Sunday when I come in, we can celebrate. If you can just share some pictures, I'm not sure what you're going to be doing, but you can share some memorable picture with us and trust me, or just send me a message inbox. If there's anything that we can do. I'm not sure where you live, where you are. If you're around Philly, we have a correspondent in Philly area or whatever. I'm not sure what about even in the place, but shoot us a message. If there's anything we can do, trust me, you guys' commitment on this network is just amazing. And it is because of you guys we are here. So in the meantime, I'll say happy, please, anniversary, 27th, I believe, unbroken years. It comes with commitment. It comes with honesty. I know it was racket, nothing can go 100%, but the virtue, the fact that you manage, or both of you manage to uphold that one makes out a human being. Mr. Ty, congratulations. Congratulations. It's a milestone. 27 years? It's a milestone. And we pray. Pure mercy. Nothing could go there and spoil that. Nothing could pour that. Don't tell Papa God thank you for all these years we don't be together. The Papa God gets all the glory. Okay, so thank you so much. Let us know, and we would share some images and we'll celebrate that with you, and your family. Thank you so much. Bye bye.